The views expressed in this presentation are those of the hosts and guests and do not represent the views of any lodge, Grand Lodge, appended body, or any other person or persons whomsoever.
Brethren, we are at Refreshment.
I'm a cool guy, right? You know, we're cool. He's like, yeah. How weird.
I see just a bunch of old guys eating hashed over crock pot food. And
well, you're just not high enough up in the conspiracy.
Oh, yeah.
And the potentate is right where you are. And what does he do? He
just starts laughing his ass off.
Welcome to the At Refreshment Masonic Video Podcast. I'm your host, Wes Reuter. And if you don't know everyone else, well, you're going to meet them now.
We have
Brock from Raven 303.
Yoshi, Villa Park Lodge, number 1113.
And the big gentleman over here.
Gentlemen, that's horrible.
Okay, the tiny guy over here.
Oh, that sounds horrible too. Hi, I'm Marty. I guess I'm overweight.
Oh, gosh,
Wes didn't have to point it out.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Wes is a bully.
And I'm so much of a bully that Marty invited a guest on the show and just told him he didn't want to talk about his subject. So, without further ado, well, where there's a will, there's a way. Will Infant, come on down.
Welcome.
Good to be back. See, when you try to embarrass me, I'll just do it.
You know I don't want to talk about your subject. Just get on with
I don't want to talk about you either, Marty, but here we are.
Damn! Will.
Oh man, it is great. I could feel this one.
I think we should just call this Will versus Marty.
I'm like your most frequent guest, and this is how you treat me. This is like episode number 3. This is hurtful, Marty.
First off, I'm not even 100% sure Brock's on the show, so he might be the guest.
I was the first fan of the show that ever came up to you in public, and this is how you treat me. It's hurtful. My heart breaks.
How do you do this to our fans?
Come on.
Yeah, I'm no longer liking and subscribing.
Oh, no.
I'm unliking.
Make sure you comment before you quit. But hold on. Now I feel bad. That's not cool.
Is there like a clandestine podcast that I can do?
Oh, that's a great idea. Dude, we should actually sell At Refreshment franchises to clandestine magazines. That's how we make our money.
At Refreshment Charters.
Oh my god, it's terrible.
It's a pyramid scheme,
Well,
man. We got to put ourselves at the top.
It's good to see you, and the subject you're about to bring forward.
It's always good
It
to
is
see you,
very
Marty.
important in these times where we're dominated by the idea of something, and this is the workaround that our Grand Lodges decided that we could have, and it makes certain members feel safe. And just because I don't believe in consequences or anything to anything, I oppose it, but that's okay. But you actually trailblazed it. And your lodge did it.
Yeah.
And in these times, I'm assuming when this episode goes up that the corona beer virus is still going to be a problem. And, well, I talk crap, but realistically, not only did your lodge pioneer it, as I just said, you actually were the one who wrote the article in the Illinois Grand Lodge magazine that highlighted it. And I'm probably going to grump, and I'm going to groan. I'm going to be a crotchety old man. He's like, we used to get together to eat green beans in person.
I'm going to try to bring it back and win you over on the idea.
When the hell did you ever eat green beans?
You've got to stop fat shaming, Marty.
I'm not fat shaming him. I know skinny people that don't eat anything green.
I actually love green beans.
Yeah, green beans are good. I don't understand.
Yeah,
I mean, they're better when you bake them with the mushroom soup and those French fried onions. That ain't bad.
Yeah, they're better with sugar.
I've never actually had green beans at a lodge.
We have.
You put sugar in your green beans?
Maybe
No.
brown sugar.
Wait, what? Never mind. I have no idea what
Actually,
this
you
show
know
is
what's
doing.
interesting? Last time I heard the phrase brown sugar, it was a girl I met by the airport.
Oh, dang.
But either way, Will, do your thing.
Mick Jagger was the last one I heard use that term. But
Yeah, so I think Elmhurst is one of the first big lodges in the state to really get behind the virtual lodge concept.
now, when you say virtual lodge, you just
How
mean
far?
like Zoom. You don't mean like Minecraft or anything like that.
No Minecraft. I don't know if you've seen the average age of a Mason, but I don't think there's too many Minecraft players.
Hey, shout
I
out to
am
that
the average
Minecraft
age of
Masonic
Mason.
Lodge that exists.
Yeah, shout out to that Minecraft lodge that Will just pretty
Yeah.
much trounced.
Yeah, he's funny.
Well, they're clandestine, so
Yeah.
maybe I'll go join
You
their
heard it here
podcast.
first, folks.
Oh, that's terrible too. Oh,
Yeah, no, when Corona started, it actually hit Elmhurst really hard. We were knee deep in our rebuild, and like we had probably 7 or 8 knockers and a bunch of guys that were ready for degrees. And then all of a sudden we're calling guys going, that's cool. You can't actually leave the house anymore. So I don't know what we're going to do.
We're not doing degrees.
Yeah.
And
like I can't even let you in the building because my key doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Your key didn't work?
yeah, we took security a little strict at our building. But we started doing the Zoom thing, and we were actually doing weekly Zoom meetings, not really to do anything masonry, but it really just turned into like an hour or two of happy hour every week where everybody from the lodge we got onto Zoom, we poured some drinks and just sat around and just BS'd. And
What Zoom meeting has anything to do with Freemasonry?
not too many of ours, but
yeah,
I don't think I've ever been in a Masonic Zoom meeting where I was like, well, that was enrichingly Masonic. It's more like, hey, I'm happy I saw my friends.
yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
Dude, just about every single Zoom meeting I've been involved with is a bunch of people yelling, "Put yourself on mute!
Yeah.
Put yourself on mute! Put mute! Take yourself off mute! Take
Yeah.
yourself off mute!" That's pretty much every meeting I've gone through that's been on
man.
Zoom.
well, I mean,
So-
we're fortunate enough to where in our lodge we've got somebody who runs his own tech company, so he's our tech support for our lodge. So
Oh, that's nice.
you were on mute the minute you joined, and if you tried to talk and he didn't want you to talk, you just get muted. So
Oh, that's nice. That's great.
It's actually good to have a monitor.
Yeah, we
No,
need
it is good to have
everyone
on.
needs
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
yeah, and I mean, we blasted out invites to pretty much our entire membership. We were calling and sending out emails to our 215 members, and we actually found, after the first couple that we got under our belts, like we were getting guys that none of us even knew. Like guys who are like, yeah, I've been a member of your lodge for 60 years. I don't know what you guys are
yeah.
what the
I
hell
only
you
live
guys
2
do?"
blocks away. I couldn't make it, but I'm here
Yeah,
on Zoom.
and I'm just like, oh, that's cool, buddy. You're paying your dues. All right.
Yeah,
good.
come
Hey,
on
thanks for
down.
coming.
You know what?
Virtually.
Lodges do need, unfortunately, lodges do need those guys that just want to come in,
Yeah.
do degrees, and just pay dues and never show up.
Yeah.
We
But
do
those
need
guys
that.
also slip into other stuff. They go into Shrine, they go
Right,
to
yeah.
Scottish Rite, and so those kind of guys like.
still
I don't
Masons,
remember
they just don't
somewhere
show
I
up.
was reading in one of our magazines, and somebody from my lodge got like a 50-year or something like. I'm like, 50 years? I'm not sure who this is, but. I was like, it's cool to see it. And then, I get to lodge. I'm like, you guys know this guy from our lodge got this thing in the book? And they're like, oh, yeah, we sent the thing. I'm like, oh, I've never seen it.
I was at a lodge, and actually you were with me that night. And it was a degree, and the brother who was purging the lodge, shout out Mike Bonnerdell, I love you, and I know you're in Tennessee, and we all miss you. He goes to ground, stop the rod on a brother to check him, and the guy stands up, and he says the lodge's name, and he's like, I did not know. He's like, it's okay, I haven't been here in like 10 years. And it was one of those moments where I kind of like that dawned on me. But I'm like, hey, he's still an important member of the lodge. He's paid his dues.
Yeah.
And for some reason, 10 years later, he decided to come back, and we're all happy to see him.
Yeah,
Welcome back.
It happens. And
Speaking of purging, do you remember when that German brother stood up and said what he had to say in I guess German, and the guy who
Translator.
this is going bad.
no, he
already.
didn't confusion, he didn't know. So like, oh my god, that was so funny. I'm sorry, I went off. I really went off the rails.
I don't even know what you said. I just heard
No, you know what? And actually, what
Guys
funny,
spoke German, and
I ended up working with that German guy like a year later, just really randomly. And he was like trying to assimilate into American culture so hard. He had the bluest jeans I ever saw. He bought a Harley. I'm like, man, keep rocking with your bad self. That German guy was awesome. But yeah, he's like, I only know the passages in German. And the deacon did not know German.
yeah.
So,
Well, that makes
But that was
sense.
funny. That was
yeah.
funny.
Hey, whatever. That's fine.
Welcome to American Freemasonry.
Right? Gosh, I wonder how that is.
Well, it's probably
In
the
another
same as
language.
if you go to Germany and you
because
go
yeah,
to do
you
the
don't-
password
yeah.
and they're like, we don't
just
speak
like here,
English.
every state has something different. Every
yeah.
country has something different. I would just like to hear it in a different language and how a different country opens to see if I can recognize anything.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those
you
things. I'm
see
sure we would.
But you see a lot of that in America. Go down to Louisiana where they still do the French degrees.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, there's some lodges in this area that you can go to and see opening and closing in very strange different languages.
Yeah.
Well,
We're not gonna name names.
language on
Nope,
this
not
show.
gonna name names.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna put nobody on blast.
You know who you are.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, the state of Illinois was trying to work on a Spanish-speaking lodge for a while.
Yeah,
so.
a couple years ago.
Yeah, there was a.
Did we just give up on that?
Well, I don't speak Spanish, so I did.
Yeah, the criteria was a little hard.
What was the criteria?
It was like you had to have every officer's chair pretty much needed to be bilingual, and then you needed to have like the next upcoming
Dude, I feel like I could send 5 guys from my grotto.
But they have to be past masters. There was like a bunch of criteria.
Well, yeah, because you're starting a new lodge.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
supposed to have so many past masters, and everyone can do through the ritual and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
I'm guessing it's probably just like doing a new lodge where you'd have to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
all the
exactly.
ritual.
Exactly, but you just got to make sure that. And then there was something about like you had to have somebody that also was bilingual to make sure that they were doing the degree
it right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Like,
so
it
you
was
pretty
like,
much
oh,
need
holy
like
smokes.
a bilingual CLI or Grand Lecture.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think
Something like
I don't
that.
think we're that wealthy in those.
Maybe
No.
someday.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, I don't see it either. I don't think so.
You never know. Things change at the drop of a hat. And if
No, I mean,
2020
look at
has taught us anything, it's that.
I get it. I get why they would want that and everything. I mean, and I think that's a good idea, good for them. But like, I don't know. I mean,
So, Will, I'm sorry you came here to talk about one thing. We're talking about Spanish-speaking lodges.
Well, you didn't want to talk about his stuff anyway.
Well, I'm into it now.
I'm just waiting
No,
for
you're
Wes
not.
to hit
You're
the
just
SAP button on the podcast, and we all just start speaking Spanish.
So, do you speak Spanish?
Not enough.
Caliente.
Muy caliente.
Can you just make it up?
Tu hombre es muy
Guapo.
pequeño.
Muy guapo.
Yeah.
I don't know what you said, but if you're saying I have a little dick, the answer is no.
That's exactly what I said. Or for our
So
German
subscribe to our
speaking friends.
Patreon for verification of
Yes,
that.
wait for the Refreshment porn channel.
Wes's OnlyFans page.
Yeah, look us up on OnlyFans.
But to take it back to what you were trying to, Marty, with the virtual meetings, what we started to do in incorporating within just our BS sessions was just doing like 15 to 20 minutes of just some sort of Masonic education, whether it was going over some ritual or just diving into something. And I mean, as you guys know from the last time I was on the show, being an education officer, I force my guys to sit through me droning on about God knows what every chance I get.
Are you still the education
Yep,
officer?
still the education officer for the 6th Northeast.
Great.
What,
It's very awesome.
Okay, well, since we're talking about virtual and education, what have you been teaching virtually?
So I've done a lot of talks in the area on Masonic etiquette. I've had a bunch of lodges ask me to do stuff on how to be a better person on social media.
You're like, I can't
Well,
do
that's a
that, I'm
great
sorry.
idea. We talk about.
I've already been on the
etiquettes of
Refreshment show. I
Freemasonry.
can't do that.
I actually just recently did that one in Philip Park.
He came to our first stated meeting since February, and he did a education on etiquette on social media, and I loved it.
It was really good, and it really touched on all the points that you needed to. And the overarching point of your education on that is your obligations don't end when you leave that door.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
And
need to
the same-
remember that when you're online
Yeah.
too.
And that's the problem because a lot of brothers have forgotten.
Dude, over the COVID,
like-
man, hey, sorry for you guys out there, but dude, there's been some people, dude, who have really showed some online that's like,
it's
come
terrible.
on, like,
and it's
dude,
not only
how
that,
in the
it's
world
it's
can
in-
I
it's
even
in
think
so
of
many-
you the same?
Yeah.
It's like,
It's
ugh.
in so many different aspects. Like everything right now in the world is so like you're either here or you're either there, and it's terrible. Like everyone's forgot about that middle ground.
Yeah.
And
I mean, despite the average Master Mason being basically the target area for, oh my God, you should be worried about COVID, our
Yeah.
fraternity is filled with very, very passionate COVID deniers
Yeah.
who are so passionate they have to make sure you understand that COVID's not a thing. And heaven forbid you try to go, wait a minute, maybe it is. And then before you know it, you're just getting flamed. And
I would actually like to add
yeah.
that I'm the worshipful master of the anti-COVID lodge.
That's actually part of the petition to join Marty's lodge. Do you,
Yeah.
do you want a face
to
mask,
burn-
yes or no?
So what have you noticed between social media and the virtual meetings? Is there a correlation between that, the way guys are acting now?
Yes. I think anytime you've got the anonymity.
Whatever, we don't speak right. We've been
Whatever the
drinking
hell-
on this show for
Yeah, maybe I'll get the
while
Spanish
now.
word. I mean, whenever you've got a keyboard in front of you and you're not actually seeing the person that you're talking to, it's a lot easier to puff out your chest and forget the
Oh,
fact that you're supposed to be a human
everyone's
being.
tough till they meet you.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've had guys where I don't buy into the troll bait. So like when people are saying stupid crap to me online,
I act like I have two legs on
it's like
social media.
I'll walk up to a guy in lodge and be like, "Hey, brother, you remember yesterday when you said this, this, and this? Let's talk about that." And they immediately like, "Oh, I'm sorry, brother, you took it out of context." Like,
I'm sorry, I don't even know your wife.
I took it out of context. It's like you called me a crazy left-wing communist. Like,
Yeah.
Aren't you?
Like I'm not. Yeah, and it's like, dude.
That is
no,
what
I'm
your
not- I'm not
business
about to
card
say-
says.
I'm not about to
Will
say-
Asphalt, crazy left-wing communist.
You know, you're not like, and that's the thing is nobody wants to have that discussion. Nobody wants to discuss anything anymore. You know, it's like
Because
you know,
people are afraid of
you went up to
that
you're
they're
not
going to be
about hit him.
wrong.
You know, you're not about to hit the guy, but you're like, no, I would like to discuss this. Actually discuss. And no, you can't do that now. Everyone has to be like me.
Oh, can I tell a story?
Oh, okay.
I thought you were
Marty moment.
Marty moment.
So, hold on, I got it's
Marty
actually a really
moment.
cool Marty moment.
moment.
So, all right, the other day I try to be cool online, and actually I really try
you
to.
do try.
Well, no, I try to keep it positive, and I know everyone's opinion's valid, and this whole time is all divisive and pointless for nothing. But between my COVID denying, my fat, proud Americanist, you can probably figure out a lot of my politics pretty quick.
don't forget flat Earth.
Yeah. He's a dabbler.
I dabble.
You dabble. You know,
No, you want to know why?
dabbles
You don't
in
want to
that.
know why I dabble in flat Earth? Just to piss off scientists, but that's a whole other problem.
Also, why he denies COVID.
Either way, I got a friend, and I haven't seen him in years. He's a friend.
A friend?
I have many friends, but this is
no,
this is a
it's
guy,
good that you
really,
have one.
really solid brother. I don't think he watches the show, so you probably won't hear the story. But
God.
he's actually a grand officer for the Prince Hall side of the world. Good, awesome guy. I hired a jazz band from him once, and that did happen. It's not like a story I'm telling.
And you had jazz hands for a week?
No, actually, I hired a jazz band from him for Grandmaster Tony Krakow's party, but that was a whole other story.
Very cool.
So
It was a
one day-
horror story?
No,
It's a whole other
Oh,
story.
whole other
story.
story.
Oh my God.
No, it was a great band. We partied with them all night.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they were really cool
But,
guys,
okay,
man.
so either way, he posted something, and it was a little bit political, and I posted, I don't know, nothing really mad, but it was kind of like my own hot take on it. And I was like, and I posted, I'm like, why did I just do that? That was a dumb move on my part. And I swear, I'm driving, and out of nowhere, my Bluetooth goes off in my car. And I look at my phone, I'm like, he's calling me through that weird Facebook phone. And I'm like, what am I getting into? And a part of me got scared real quick. Not that I don't know this dude, not that I don't love this dude. If I ran into him in public, I'd see him the internet's crazy, COVID's made us all crazy.
Yeah.
And then I answered, well, what do you mean by that? And then I kind of explained my point. He's like, well, I don't agree with you. This is what I think. I was like, okay, cool. I feel you, brother. And then we had a really positive, 10-minute conversation about life. And I remember getting off the phone. And I freaked out. I called Joe. I said, Yoshi, I did the coolest thing. And he's like, what did you do? Did you open a savings account? Did you do some healthy activities? Did you have a green smoothie? What have you done today? And I'm like, no, I had a positive conversation with someone I didn't agree with, and it felt so good.
Yeah, that's great.
And it was just
it's the way it should be.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And it was this weird moment when I saw that we're calling me through Facebook Messenger. I'm like, well, that's not gonna be good. But it was so awesome.
Hey, man, unity.
Sonny Anderson, I love you, brother.
Unity.
But yeah.
All right, well, now that Marty moment is done with, we're going to have to take a break, and we'll be back with more. And we're back, and our Emmy-nominated director just said he has no idea what he's doing on the show, but we're glad he's here. So, Will, the virtual stuff. What problems do you see moving forward with virtual masonry?
So I think really the future of masonry, I think, is really more of a hybrid approach, and that's what we started to do now that some of the restrictions on lodge have
And when you
kind of
say
been lifted.
100, you mean meeting in person and the
Yeah,
virtual?
so we're actually broadcasting all of our stated meetings online through Zoom. We've got our entire lodge wired up for sound. One of our past masters, Todd, he's got a bunch of laptops that he puts out. Where he's got one facing the east, one for the south, one that face to the senior.
Wow.
Okay.
And we've got
Cool.
one for the
Now,
guys.
is
and
he the one in charge of tiling everyone that comes to the room and verifying?
yeah, he's also got a laptop. He's our senior deacon now, so he's got a laptop that sits next to him, and then everybody that jumps
So
in.
he's still accommodating visiting veterans.
Yeah, he is. Still
That's actually
accommodating
alright.
veterans.
That's
pretty
cool.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that
I'll
is
give him
so
that, yeah.
cool.
All of our officers wear microphones for our meetings, so whenever we're doing our ritual or talking, the guys that are online for the Zoom can actually hear it.
Wow.
You got microphones in your lodge?
Yep. Yeah.
You guys have prompters like, hey, you said
And
that
then-
wrong.
Yeah, they got teleprompters on it.
Yeah, and Todd also does all the sound for his band, so we're kind of spoiled with
Yeah,
the
that's
band, so he does all
exciting.
the
That's
tech stuff.
cool.
Nice.
So we're able to accommodate any of our older brethren who don't feel comfortable coming into the lodge. If any
Which
of
is
our-
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If any of our guys are sick for any reason and they can't make it in, it's hey, you can stay home and you can still come to our lodge. We open on the first degree. We still do all of our ritual.
What about the sick-minded? Do you let them come in?
Yeah. As long as they got a camera, we'll put them on mute. Every now and then
Put them on mute.
Already right here, right?
every now and then one of our brothers will forget how to unmute his microphone and he'll just scream in hello.
Or I love the feedback
Yeah.
on Zoom when I go, beep, beep, because
Put
somebody
yourself
doesn't know.
on mute.
They
Put
have
yourself
so many
on
different
mute.
things on and everything gets interfered with.
Oh, I love when you're in a Zoom call with a bunch of Masons and you see a brother and he's sitting in what looks like his office and it looks really organized, but he didn't turn his stuff on mute, and like the kitchen must be next door and his like wife is like fighting 18 live lobsters into a pot and you can just hear it. And I'm like, bro, will you mute that, please? You're like, here is like kids fighting in the background, like, Dad! And I'm like,
Like, oh, are you on your Masonic meeting? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you. Let me leave. And says it real loud.
Yeah.
We've had
It's
our
happened
share
a couple
of that.
times.
Oh, yeah.
We'll just quickly mute the guy, or you'll see him like get up and run off the screen. It's like, all right. I guess that guy
but I
did
don't
that.
think those are any problems that aren't facing every company that's
No.
gone digital,
Yeah.
every school.
Oh yeah, I mean, dude,
that's gone digital.
I've seen so many like, I don't want to call them bloopers, but like different
Zoom fails.
like Zoom fails. Yeah,
Yeah.
like a husband will walk by like naked, or the wife will, or the little kids are running around with their diaper waving it around or whatever. And,
Why did you mention the husband being naked first
Huh?
instead of the wife?
What?
I'm just kind of curious.
What type of internet are you on there, son?
no,
Don't-
I'm talking about like just in general, just the.
Don't judge Yoshi's lifestyle.
Yeah, don't judge me. Don't judge me.
You know what? It's a big world. It's 2020.
Hey, only
we
God
can't
can judge
any
me.
longer.
It's a clothing optional household at Yoshi's.
There it is. There it is.
Nudist colony.
Dude, naked's the right way.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, we're really fortunate to have Todd, who handles all of our audio, video, and it's cool to have guys who we haven't seen in a long time still be able to be active, especially the guys that have moved out of state.
Yeah, how is that? You mentioned off camera when guys come on, they're like, well, I've been a member for some odd years and just nobody recognizes them. How do you handle
that's
that
amazing.
in a Zoom meeting?
The out-of-state thing is huge to me.
I mean, it's generally speaking, one of us will just pull him up really quickly in Maury and go, oh, yeah, this guy, oh, look, he's like a past master from like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. And it's just, it's cool to meet those guys. I mean, I've only been a Mason for 2 years, and, I belong to a lodge that's been around for over 100 years, and, we've got the same 10 or so guys that come to all of our meetings, so, I mean, we've got 200 members of our lodge that I've never met. And,
Yeah.
when I go through Maury and, try to figure out where guys live and send out emails, it's like I'm seeing all these guys out of state. It's like, I'm never going to meet any of these guys, and they're the history of the lodge. And it's cool to have these virtual sessions where somebody joins that's like, all right, you've been a Mason longer than I've been alive. Let me pick your brain. What was things like back in your day?
You know what?
Oh, we didn't have virtual meetings back in my day.
before Corona happened, and actually it was still when I was worshipful. We had a brother come in from out of town.
Florida guy.
What was it?
It's Florida guy.
Florida. And yeah, he was able to drop a bunch of knowledge on us about different things.
Just like crazy, like, oh well, this is
Yeah.
how this actually went down.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah.
Let me tell you how we actually got this whole this kitchen set up. I was like, just a plethora.
Yeah, and I'm like,
That's
God,
cool.
I wish we had like we could record you right
Yeah.
now. Like we didn't have anything with us, but it was like he was just spewing all this stuff that was just like pure knowledge, and we're just like,
Then he rode off back into the night.
yeah, never saw him again.
Back to Florida.
Back to Florida, and it was like, damn it.
Like, I'll be back in 10 years to tell the next guys. Like,
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
And I think that's such a huge problem in our fraternity as a whole. It's like we've got all this great history and this great knowledge that's only contained within somebody's head. And when they stop coming around, there's no way you can get that information. And if somebody moves out of state, I mean, how often are any of us picking up the phone and just calling a random guy and going, hey, brother, you belong to my lodge? But reaching out
Facebook
to them,
helps to keep up with people, but man, dropping that line, I don't.
Yeah.
It's part of our obligation, and we should be calling these guys.
Yeah.
But
It's really hard because you're afraid of dead air because sometimes you don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Nor do you
No,
know
you
their
don't.
schedule.
You don't know what
what's
they're-
a
yeah.
good time to call.
Or maybe
Yeah, you have-
they're
you have-
not into it anymore or something
Yeah.
either.
Right, you have
know?
Freemasonry in common, but I mean, it only goes so far, especially if you don't know the guy or he hasn't been around.
I mean, out of sight, out of mind is like it's a real thing. And I've seen a lot of brothers get upset that sometimes Masonic funerals for brothers who haven't been around the lodge in 10, 15 plus years aren't the best attended. And I hate to say it, it's like, man, it's hard, but like you see the guys who are active that unfortunately pass away, there's 200 people at their funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's true. If there's a brother, like, oh man, that is still one of the worst things. Is the worstful to go like to get that call, to have to make that call, and then to go to the funeral. But
you never know what to say.
Yeah, you don't. You really don't. But
because you want to say the right thing. You don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So
you know, you might upset the family. You might not. You know, if you say something, you might upset the family. If you don't say something, you might upset the family. You know, you never really know. But the worst part is going to one and there's like nobody there.
Yeah,
Or you had like the one funeral I went to.
You're talking family or brothers?
No, brothers.
Brothers.
Like the one that I went to, there we just had enough Masons to do the ritual. Or do you call it a ritual?
Yeah,
It
is a ritual.
It's
a
Masonic
public
funeral.
ritual.
Okay, the Masonic. It's a public ritual. It's a Masonic funeral. You know, we just had enough people to do it to make it look decent. You know what I'm saying? And not just like, okay, there's like 4 or 5 guys just like standing there. What the hell's that about?
Yeah.
You know, like.
Well, since you mentioned that, has there been a virtual Masonic funeral? Yeah.
Ooh, I've never.
Because let's face it, there's restrictions. Right now it's 50.
Yeah.
Oh, when a family member of mine passed away, they only allowed 10. I told I'm not going, Ma, you go.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I know.
I mean, what happens when a brother passes away? Do we do something like that?
Well, right when COVID first hit, we had a brother of our lodge pass away, and it was a member that we didn't know who the guy was. It was their family reached out to us on Facebook just to let us know, hey, such and such passed away. Just wanted to let you know. And I mean, we ended up giving the family a call, and I mean, I read them some of the ritual for the Masonic funeral just to do it over the phone, just a little something nice for the family. And we sent them flowers, but I don't know that anybody's done a full Masonic funeral virtually.
No.
It'd be interesting
Now-
to know if it happened.
Now, this was a little bit pre-COVID, but we lost a brother, I don't know if it was a year ago, 2 years. Time's kind of becoming blended for me. However, the funeral home that he had his service done, and I believe he was of the Jewish faith, I don't know if this is more with them. However, the funeral home had a live feed.
Interesting.
Now, I'm assuming if this funeral home has a live feed, they can't be that unique. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
But now, are we living in a world where, hey, we're going to do this Masonic service? We're only going to send 5 guys there. I think 5 is the minimum to do the funeral rites, right?
Yeah,
Or 4, one or the other.
technically 5.
Yeah, so we send them there. This might become the next thing. And actually, if there's anything that was to become the next thing, I would say that would probably be it. And we're getting into a grim subject matter, but just the sheer fact that I watched this brother's ceremony with the religious aspect of it, there's really no reason we couldn't do our stuff.
No, we definitely could.
And it for me, it was just a really tough day. I was working downtown Chicago. There was no way I couldn't skip work that day. And there's no way that I could run there in time. So, but then when they had that option, I just kind of told my supervisor for about a half hour, I got to really tune into this thing and kind of watch it. I went to one of the conference rooms and I was like, oh wow, this is a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, I just recently went to my first actual in-person Masonic funeral, and it's a really weird experience. It's really powerful ritual. It's really, there's a lot of meaning behind the ritual, but at the same time, it's like you're saying goodbye to a brother. So it's like you don't want to say it's like a good experience.
But it's cool. But see, the problem is you don't want to say that, but at the same time, it is so goddamn cool.
Yeah, I mean, all the ceremony and the ritual. I mean, it's impressive to see, and when you look into like the family's face, and it's like you can see the stuff is actually resonated, and you're like, I want to be proud of this, but at the same time, it's
you
like,
see the family's face when we
Well,
do
and
these
it's also
virtual
one
things.
of your rights as a Mason is to receive a Masonic funeral. So
Right, but when we do these virtual things, we take that human aspect out of it, and we got to see everybody's eyes through a screen instead of through our own eyes only.
Yeah.
It's a different reaction, and when you were talking about that, I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie Priest. It's a very grim movie, And at one point, the main character goes into basically a confession booth. Oh, can you stop that? This is going to be on. He goes in and he talks normally, but there's a recorded message. And you see the screen flip to get to that recorded message. And you just see the character like, same thing again. Because there's no human aspect to it. He wants to hear something different than just a recorded message.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I know the times we're in, but I'm afraid that we're going to be like that, a recorded message. We're going to lose some things. I don't think it will, but if we stay like this, then
I
yes.
get
like a Twilight Zone.
Yeah,
right
I get
there.
what you're
was
saying.
like,
I
oh,
don't think it's gonna get that bad.
Hey, our Grand Lodge is already going virtual, and we didn't talk about that yet.
Because it's the times that we're in. The movie, completely different thing. It just made me think
There's
of that.
a second part, though, to our Grand Lodge going completely virtual this year. They don't have access, I don't believe, to the building they're used to having either.
No. The restrictions from the state.
So there's a lot there.
Yeah.
No, they're not doing it at the convention center.
But, I mean, I think to go back to your human element thing, the one saving grace that I find, and it's something that, Marty said to me very early on when I first met him, and it's something that's always resonated with me, and that's, our stated meeting is the least Masonic thing we do. I mean, our stated...
That's paying bills, that's keeping the lights on, that's getting some stuff planned. If you could sneak in some education, great. But Masonry happens when you leave that door.
Yeah, and the weird thing is how much people get excited for the stated meetings because they care about the business side of things. And if I have my choice between broadcasting something like that online while still being able to take my time and focus that on the actual charity and the education stuff that we do, I am fine throwing stuff online, and I don't need to see a brother in the room to put his hand up to say it's okay to pay the electric bill. It's our stated meetings are just not that exciting.
I completely understand. We're doing what we need to do, but I don't want doing what we need to do become the reality of everything.
Everybody's like, I'm tired of doing it the old way, and now there's a new way, and everybody's like, well, I don't want that new way.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, okay, wait. You're right. But this way takes the human element out of it. Because you got to see another human through virtual computer eyes.
It's creepy, and it's never the same as seeing somebody. But I think time will actually show a bigger return to how things were even before what we were used to.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way a pendulum swings this direction without doing one of these. That's just kind of how life works.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to 50 years from now when I'm a grumpy past master and I can bitch about back in my day. We used to meet in person.
I remember when we did virtual meetings.
I remember when I had to sit down and shake hands and I had to look at people when we complained about
gosh,
things.
we didn't use sanitary gloves. It was a crazy time.
The real question is, though, what is the limit of what Masonry can do virtually?
Exactly. What about virtual degrees? I mean, does that take it too far?
The Scottish Rite is doing.
I'm not talking that. Let's not go.
Look, because you're right.
I'm talking
it is
1, 2, 3.
It is different.
Yeah,
than
I don't
1, 2,
care.
3.
I don't care about the appendant bodies degrees. If we go to 1, 2, and 3 become virtual and virtual only, no, dude, that's no.
Hear me out. Let me play the devil's advocate.
Where you watch like a play at that point, You're watching
You did the Grand Master's class, right?
Yeah, I still got my first degree done, but I got
but you did your second and
my
third
second and
sitting
third was
pretty much in a movie theater setting.
My second and third was with 500 of my closest friends.
I mean, we're not far from it.
I mean, I could honestly see that being the future of degrees. Everybody gets their first degree done because I think the first degree is the one. I think the first degree is the one that people mention. It's the first time you do that stuff.
Let me ask you this:
second and third, you do a class.
You sitting there and watching the degrees at the Grand Master's class, and then sitting in degrees, watching individuals go.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that? In other words, personally for you, because you watched them, you didn't.
Yeah, so
you didn't physically.
Yeah, I've got
do them
kind of two thoughts. There's the personal part, which is the stigma of going through those classes. Everybody looks down on you, and I wear that as a badge of honor.
I was gonna say I don't know if anybody really.
Because
you would be surprised.
Oh yeah,
and,
believe me, bro.
You guys are like, I was like, I don't think I've met anybody who's like, I've heard the
believe
jokes.
Me, some people will give me because I'm like, I had to go through a blue light. Oh, well, you're.
Yeah,
I'm like, well, duh. I'm a
you're just
cripple.
not
What
a
the hell?
Mason.
I mean, seriously.
Like, I get the same thing, and you'd be hard pressed to find a more active Mason than what I've been doing in the
Yeah,
last 2
dude,
years.
exactly.
Yeah.
And the people that gave aren't as active as I am.
No, of course.
So
No, but actually, it's funny. Our DDGM, because you're in our lodge too now, our DDGM festival guy, our old producer Dave, and who might be our producer again one day, but not anytime soon. We love you now, Mark. We love you, new producer. He was that. There was a lot. It's actually kind of funny. The guy always.
It's like all of the really good, really active Masons
know.
are festival Masons. And
I
all
know,
the
it sounds weird,
crotchety
right?
old, I have to scream and yell about everything Masons are the guys like, oh, you have to do 1, 2, and 3. And they're the ones who don't know any work. They show up on sidelines, they hang out, and they just want to complain about dinner. It's like, all right, you went through your degrees. You're bitching about green beans. I went through a festival. I'm actually in degrees doing shit. I'm running around as an education officer. Which one of us is doing it better?
Okay, I love that we just hit a raw nerve, and I love to watch the Will, who's be like, he's like, well, I wrote an article in this magazine, and I'm a very intelligent man, and I pioneered virtual meetings, and then we hit that switch, and you got real hot take.
I just,
Hot take.
Hot take.
go on,
Yeah.
keep going, because I'm looking for your article. I'm gonna
no,
show
but
There
you know,
it is.
the other part that I wanted to say is I think, in my opinion, that could very well become the future of Masonry. It's
It might.
you get your first degree done, and then second and third, I think, could be done through classes. And that's assuming that, you know, this silly flu that Marty loves to refuse doesn't exist, sticks around.
We
Yeah.
survived the
I mean,
plague. We've
yeah.
survived worse things than, in '98.
But I mean, it's not also just about what we survive. It's you got to consider the candidate too. And there's always going to be people who firmly believe in what's going on, and they might not be comfortable going through those degrees. And does that make them any less worthy of being a Mason than me?
No.
And
But
we
see,
should
that's
have an
the thing.
avenue for them.
No, dude, it just.
Yeah, but no, but that's important too. You have
But
to
now that
It
comes,
should be.
but
it should
now
be the
that
option.
comes
It
to
should be the option,
catering.
you know?
But I mean, is someone's health catering?
I'm not talking about right this second. We're talking about the future. Okay. Now let's say we, vaccine, all that. We've got it. You're still going to have your people that are going to be freaked out because
Dude, we're
even
gonna wear
before
masks
this,
forever. Yeah,
before
what?
this, remember SARS? There were people freaked out here in the United States. Not like it is now, but there were people walking around with face masks and stuff. I know. I see now. So once we had the vaccines and stuff, and we need to keep doing this, well, is it catering?
Yeah, and I mean, I can understand why, especially. here
I
in
don't know.
Illinois.
I'm just asking the
Okay,
question.
but how about this? We've had a brother who's gotten elected to get his degrees before. Our lodge meets on Thursdays. Out of nowhere, he's like, I'm working Thursday nights now. Okay, well, we got to figure out a way to do his degrees on a Wednesday. Was that catering, or was that just adapting to the moment?
Yeah.
It's adapting, but that's why I'm asking. Is it catering? I don't know. I'm not saying it is. I'm not
Give
saying
me
it
your
isn't.
definition of
I'm just
catering.
asking.
Yeah.
So in other words, like, well, okay, I don't feel safe or I don't feel comfortable, putting my legs in this position and this and that. So can we change some shit?
Well, buddy, if a guy
But I
walks
mean,
in with a wheelchair,
yeah.
we do
That's
that.
not what I mean. I'm just talking about somebody who just doesn't like it. Not somebody that's physically disabled, not somebody that has a hard time in a position, or like somebody that has a hard time breathing. I wouldn't
Talking
ask
about a
him
Masonic
to do
diva
something.
here.
I'm just talking about, how our degrees are, and somebody, well, I'm uncomfortable with that. Now we change it
Well,
for
they
them.
really
That's
should know
catering.
about it ahead of time.
I don't know.
I don't
I'm
know.
just asking. Maybe it's not the right question, but I'm just asking.
It's a fair question, but all I'm gonna say is, if they paid for the degrees, it's the experience they want. Figure out a way to give it to them. They paid for it. We don't realize.
They paid for it.
No, we don't realize the
that
level
gets
of-
into well, then that gets into another thing.
Well,
Right?
we
They're
do-
just paying for something. So
We're
do
doing
we just give them
customer
what they
service, too.
want,
They're paying
or
for
do
an
we give them
experience
what
they want.
Do we give them what we have, or do we give them what they want?
Both.
Is it
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
really?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
the way. It's the way
Because
you appoint
why
and
do you?
tender. It's the way
Why
you
do,
everything.
yeah. Why do we all keep doing it for the next guy coming through? Like, and when you see the wow through, like, we had 2 guys who waited through the entire COVID to come to get their degrees. They were both scheduled to get their degrees, and then we were like, oh, we're shut down. Dude, I couldn't even believe they waited that long. I was shocked. And to think, you might have went to a couple dinners, you barely even know us. Both of them would text me throughout the whole entire time. When you guys meeting? I don't want to miss out on anything. When's your next meeting? Then we started getting back to meetings. It was like, hey man, we're not even allowing guests or anything else. So, it sucked.
It's just how it is. Like I said, I'm just asking a question. I don't know if it is or isn't, but it seems like maybe we'll end up that way. I don't know.
Concierge Masonry.
I have no idea. I can be completely wrong, but
we all can.
Grand Lodge YouTube channel. Get
real
all your
quick,
degrees.
this, if you can see it, I don't know if you can. We'll try and put it up. This is Will's article in the Illinois Freemasonry magazine. I suggest you check it out, read it, talk to Will. But with that comes, once again, our favorite time for shout out and shouts out. So, do we have a shout out to anybody?
I want to throw some love to Todd from Elmhurst Lodge that Will mentioned, who really went above and beyond to build the virtual experience that really pioneered the current state of Illinois Masonry and the next step to keep this crazy train on the tracks.
Yeah, definitely.
Shout out, Todd.
All right, Todd, this is for you.
Todd. Thank you.
Todd, you won't let me in that RV you got, though. We got problems.
I wouldn't let him in either.
Do you want to wanted to do in the RV?
Back to those Patron shots. Awesome.
Oh man, we didn't even talk about it. We should have gave a shout out to Masonic Con Chicago. Just happened the last weekend.
Oh yeah, Masonic.
I heard everything was awesome.
Yeah, no. RJ Johnson, great job.
Yeah, dude,
Good
way to
job
take
on that.
that. He took that virtual and did some in person. So, hey, congratulations, brother.
Shout out.
And shout out to Brock's blinding shirt over here.
Yeah, man, that's why I had to wear these sunglasses.
Yeah.
That's right, man. Confirmed.
So, with that, everyone, thank you for watching. If you haven't already, like and subscribe us on YouTube, Buzzsprout, iTunes, all that fun stuff.
Instagram.
Yeah,
Facebook.
everything I didn't mention. Follow us
Tell
on it.
your lodge that we exist. Make them watch our show.
Yeah, please.
Hashtag confirmed.
Yes, we'd love
Yeah.
it. All right, with that, we're out of here. Thank you for watching, and once again, like and subscribe. We'll be back with more. Thank you.